Join the movement. Go all electric with Pure Electric.
My name is Tim Edmondson. I live in Canberra. I run a small landscape care company, and I've got a story about water in the suburbs, and I'd like to pay respects to the original inhabitants of this Ngunnawal country. The driveway and block behind me, we've been living for 20 years, and I was managing the grounds of a Rana Steiner school, 13 hectares, that got burnt in 2003 by a big bushfire, and following the rebuilding of that landscape and school community found out and got a lot more interested in water in the landscape, and certainly the urban densification and hard surface intensity of rain events and increased periods between rain events has made this water work more and more interesting and important. So I'll just flick the camera around, and so there's my block without, smallish cottage on a biggish block, and new houses with really significantly large roof areas and a lot of paving. Canberra's fairly wide open anyway, but the amount of space dedicated to hard surface is phenomenal, detrimental to waterways, etc. So water that runs off that comes down and into this area, and we've built up where the she oaks are, so there's a bit of a berm and a pretty solid volume for catching water in here. It's very simple and effective way to use surface runoff. The recent addition to work we've got is up the back on a new landscape where a pergola was falling down, and we put in a natural flow from the outside to the inside for this fantastic grape, probably 60 years old. There's a water reservoir that we've built in between those river rocks, 600 or 800 down, and through the sand infiltration point, which I call a convict model because of the sandstone and old steel, and then it presents and will overflow on the other side of the wall at the bird bath. So this system's been developed by Paul Totterdell from Clearwater Environmental, and I've been working with him and promoting this work and doing my own projects over the last 20 years, and seen significant impact on plant growth and therefore the cooling effect of actively transpiring, i.e. growing plants. There's some infrared footage I've got where you can see the temperature change where there's moisture in the soil, and the impact that has on whole micro and larger environments. And you can certainly see the results of this work in as Peter Andrews back from the brink said, if you can tell your productivity by opening the door and seeing how much green you've got. The green on this block's phenomenal. There's a section here we put in 2007 where the very worst thing you can do with greywater is mix it with sewerage water and make it black. You just increase your volume for the city of water to treat. This bath out here is just ornamental, but in there is in that window is a bathroom. Out here there's a kidney-shaped reservoir with sand connected so it can drop down and infiltrate very quickly. Under this path and through the gate there's 8 to 10 metres of trench filled with river sand that's just dedicated to the greywater from our bathroom. There's a shower, bath and handbasin. It's also possible to put washing machine water in here. The really interesting thing in here now, after 15, 18 years of growth, is the amount of foliage. But the first year this went in, the first summer, well, it was full sun, grew corn here with beans growing up them. And every day there was our bath water going in underneath. And the roots got down into the washed river sand trench, reservoir, and on a hot day you could hear the corn crackling as it grew. Benefits are really apparent here. The work was developed about the same time, this technique, and the same thinking and processes and understanding of environment and habitat as developed with Peter Andrews from Natural Sequence Farming, who did the back from the brink work. And that is that you retain water at source, so where the water lands, you do everything you can to hold it. It can be with tanks. Tanks have got to be managed once the water's in it, and tanks can supplement really well with this water harvesting technique. So the water's got to be kept at source, you've got to get it off the surface, it's got to be subterranean so that evaporation isn't as severe, and cleaned, then environmental bonus and benefit. Greywater system, there's that 10 metre section which has got a whole lot of microbes working away, and we don't want to put rainwater into that, and we don't want to flush it out, we just want to let it percolate through. 2 to 3 summers the bigger plants put their roots down into the washed river sand and they just take off. The growth rate is something like 10 times what it will be if there's regular water going in to the sand. That's 8 minutes. That's my story.